An old woman is said to haunt the village of Arai, and YouTuber Han Kardashler and his team are here to investigate. As they set out to explore, they hear strange noises in the thick fog.
Birçok haneden yaşamda. Sesi duyuyor mu arkada?
Aşağıdan geliyor.
Okay.
There was a figure down that road, but it could simply be a person.
Sesi duyuyor mu arkada?
Still, it looks creepy to me, and that's made even creepier when the cameraman later sees an old woman behind him.
Hemen arkamda bir tane yaşlı bir kadın.
Kimin orada? Görüyorum.
They return to the haunted village at night, and through the window of this haunted house, they see an old lady.
Evet. Kim var? Bir iki kişilerin. Belki de şuradan gireceğim. Farklı. Oradan da pencere kapalı.
Is it the old lady? The guys think this woman is alone in here, talking to herself, but I see another woman sitting next to her.
Bir kadın var mı? Tek de bu arada.
İki kişilerin.
Bu ne?
Birini anlatıyor kolay diye görünmüyor.
Gözükmüyor işte.
Neyi anlatıyor acaba?
Bilmiyorum ki.
Kanka tek kişi o kanka.
If this place is supposed to be abandoned, then it's creepy that these women are hosting some sort of gathering here. But otherwise, I think the guys should continue looking for their old lady ghost while exploring the paranormal museum known as Archive of the Afterlife. YouTube team Spirit Walk Paranormal encounters the afterlife in many forms. The first is a disembodied breath.
Just heard something from that corner.
Next, in the form of shadow figures.
Two shadow figures were captured behind me, coming from the corner where Charlie was placed. At the time of the encounter, I could feel something behind me, but had no idea what we caught until I was going through the evidence.
That was quite creepy, but I think it could have been the camera capturing a shift in the light. This next movement drives them to interrogate the spirits.
Who moved the white tiger stuffed animal? Who moved that? Can you do it again?
A strange anomaly also shows up in their footage.
Can you finish the rhythm?
I've never seen anything like this before, and it's definitely not a light flare or anything of the sort.
This one looks like a digital flaw to me, as does this next EVP. I do hear a sound here, but I can't make out what they're hearing. As they're doing an Estes session, they hear something again. And then this haunted doll has a message for them. I wouldn't hug this thing, not if you value your soul. A YouTuber named Chris Javier is making a random vlog around his neighborhood late at night when he gets the weird feeling that he's not alone. Moments later, the streetlight he's standing by goes off and on by itself, which he says it has never done before. He thinks it might just be his imagination, so he decides to further test the situation by directly communicating with whatever is controlling the light, which seems to respond more than once. Here's the first time.
What the heck is going on?
And then the streetlight seems to taunt him even as he walks away. Was this a coincidence, or is there no possible way?
Now it's not even turning off. As soon as I just said something about it, it turns off.
A short while later, Chris sees a disheveled figure walk out from the back alley where he was just standing. They seem totally out of it and speak aggressively to an imaginary person in front of them. At this point, Chris decides to get out of there because it's early in the morning and no one else is around. But to his surprise, the stranger soon follows. The person then abruptly returns to the back alley from where they came and begins to shudder under the same streetlight that was acting weird earlier. They seem drawn to this area and they start swinging their arms wildly in a circle, totally forgetting about Chris, as he films the scene for a while longer and then gets away, between the lights seemingly responding to Chris's voice, and a man randomly appearing from an empty back alley moments later. There just seems to be too many coincidences in this video to deny the paranormal could have been at work that night. Working car parks aren't the most comfortable places in the light of day, so what happens when you enter an abandoned one in the darkness underground? Published to YouTube by Nellis in August of 2016, this video will make underground car parks seem even more terrifying. Nellis writes, "This is the scariest haunted abandoned place we've ever visited. The car park was in connection to a haunted hotel his crew had visited in Bosnia. He says that this video is even scarier than his two-part series about the hotel. So let's see what's hiding down in this car park." The car park has clearly long been abandoned, overgrown grass at the entrance and rubble inside. As they descend into the pits of creepy, on one wall is a handprint, as though someone smeared something on the wall. It looks like something red. Nellis shines a flashlight into the dark and spots a bag. The crew hears something down in the car park, prompting Nellis to greet the darkness, asking if there's anyone down there to give them a sign.
If there's anyone in here, give us a sign.
A sound is heard, although it's not clear what it could be coming from. He continues to shine his flashlight all along the gap to the car park to see if anything is moving. They hear some more noises, repeated taps.
Wait, did you hear that? Did you hear that?
His friend speaks in Bosnian, likely again questioning whether or not anyone is there. On closer inspection of the underground, they spot a door and recently eaten food. They continue down to the bottom of the incline and throw stuff at the bag they'd seen earlier. While looking deeper into the car park, they don't open the bag, but Nellis says it appeared like someone was sleeping down here or otherwise staying here, as though they found food canisters and towels. As they again hear something in the darkness, they decide it's time to move it on out of there. Nellis says it sounds like something scraping the floor.
Oh my god, I heard something, I heard something coming.
Whether human, animal, or something supernatural, leaving this place with only one way out was probably the best course of action. While communicating with lost souls in the Witch's Mirror, YouTube team Toppy's session gets dark. Nastya explains where the mirror comes from.
Данное зеркало принадлежало моей покойной прабабушке. Прабабушка славилась тем, что она была шутухой.
And she begins the ritual. It sounds like something wants out of the mirror. And a shadow falls on the wall beside Nastya. The whole team comes, and through a spirit box, they ask if someone is there.
Я включаю спиритбокс. С нами кто-нибудь сейчас здесь есть?
After communicating with the spirits for a time, they leave a still camera in front of the mirror, and this is what they capture. What is this strange dark haze? Is it the spirit? I think it is. If I had to guess, I'd say this witch's mirror is a portal to the afterlife, one that shouldn't be tampered with. This old house is allegedly haunted by the angry spirit of a previous inhabitant. Watch what happens in the dark basement shortly after a ghost hunter. named Lylil Show sets up a camera and leaves. As soon as the lights turn off and the door shuts, an abnormal amount of orbs dance all around the camera, which then tips over. I think this is more than a coincidence because it happens within 5 seconds of his exit. Something down there obviously doesn't want to be filmed. The angry spirit resists all attempts to communicate. Here it swats an electrometer used to detect paranormal disturbances in the air. Between this and the camera falling over, I think the spirit wants to be left alone, and I think it's probably best to respect its privacy before it gets any more insistent. It's a dreary and overcast day when a YouTuber named Sharby straps a GoPro on his head and heads into an abandoned graveyard with his friend. This eerie graveyard is surrounded by woods and is in the middle of nowhere, as Sharby puts it, and they are hoping to find some adventure. They are checking out old headstones and goofing off when a frightening discovery suddenly changes the mood.
What? Is that a knife, dude?
It appears to be a rusty old crowbar that was perhaps used to dig up graves. Both Sharby and his friend instantly get a bad feeling, and Sharby throws it to the ground, suddenly wanting nothing to do with the ancient object. They keep exploring and eventually come across a grave from 1811. The unshakable feeling of dread just won't go away, and suddenly it begins to snow, which is very odd weather for October. Not too far away, they discovered a battered doll and get seriously freaked out by its mere presence.
Okay, yo, let's get the f out of here, man. No, okay, that's it.
Some branches snap in the nearby woods, and they quickly flee before they can find out what was near them. Published by Urban Ghost Hunters in February of 2020. This paranormal crew investigated a haunted 19th century church in rural Tennessee, with urban legends surrounding it, involving dark rituals from the 60s onward, and reports of shadow figures and disembodied voices there. It was ripe for investigation, and the crew wasn't disappointed. After placing a Bible on the candlelit railing in the church, something in there was angered by it. I guess this church lives up to its haunted reputation.
Just like lights. Some sort of paranormal activity.
This gym could be haunted according to Coach Megan, who is making a video of her backhand spring when she sees what she describes as a little blue light on the speaker, almost like a camera flash, except she is by herself, so nobody could have taken it. 2 seconds later, a floating white anomaly travels towards her in the mirror, and then mysteriously disappears, only to resurface 2 seconds afterwards as a strange white light streaking down from behind. After reviewing the evidence, I honestly can't tell if this scary moment is a camera glitch, edited, or truly paranormal, but since the video is pretty good quality, I think it's probably more likely real than not.
Anything that's gonna scare you, it's just like lights. Some sort of paranormal activity.
Will this make you a believer? Redditor Lowbeam is a self-admitted skeptic, but couldn't help but be in awe at what appeared on their grandpa's security camera on the morning he went in for heart surgery. The little halo radiates downward before floating back up again. It reappears later and moves toward the kitchen. Some on Reddit are doubtful it's a spirit or anything paranormal. But others are more apt to believe. Well, I think it could be a reflection of something, like a wind chime. The Redditor said it only lasted over a 25-minute span, so that seems even stranger to me. Personally, I hope it's a helpful presence that might bring the Redditor's grandpa peace of mind. TikToker Queen Alex posted this haunting video to the site. The clip shows a phone strapped onto a stand, recording footage of a woman in the distance near a forest. You might have to watch this clip a few times to see it, but if you look at the tree to the right of her, you can see what appears to be a figure move from one side of the tree to the other. What is going on here? Is it a trick of visual trickery, or have we all fallen into some time warp loop? Whatever it is, it's seriously uncanny. I wouldn't go anywhere near that forest. When you enter an abandoned building, you don't expect to find a fully functioning service room inside, but that's what YouTuber Shy found in February of 2018. The footage begins at the top of a tower in an industrial-looking area. He then enters a building. The place is obviously abandoned, with no soul in sight, an empty auditorium, a lonely ping pong table, and then descending to the cold dark basement, which is where he finds the service room in question. Picking up the phone, although he doesn't hear a dial tone, he does receive the tone indicating the phone has been disconnected. Also inside are loads of hardware and servers, blinking lights flashing and all. Next, he happens upon an old computer, which he plugs in. Pushing the button on the tower, the modem turns on. Windows 95 appears, then a black screen with code. A username password screen appears. After attempting to enter something, Shy is told by his live streamers to hit cancel, which he does. He is then allowed to enter. After exploring the computer's contents for a bit, Shy decides to unplug the computer and gets out of there, muttering about a potential secret government project. Was Shy on the right track? Did he just tap into something top secret? I guess we will never know what were on those computers, unless Shy decides to go back and investigate further. Go into the forest, and he may never come out alive. YouTuber Clover Forest Creature posted a series of videos that might deter you from ever entering the forest again. The YouTuber writes, "We are uploading these videos, hoping that people can help us identify this animal or help explain what is happening here." According to the video, they'd been hearing strange noises emanating from the forest over the past week, and when they asked their neighbors, they discovered that others had seen lights coming from the forest interior. Pets had also gone missing in the area. Expecting to find some stray animal in the forest that was perhaps responsible, they discovered something else. In the first video, they find something hanging from a tree branch, which they say looks like a doll. As they continue to wander into the dark forest, they hear something in the brush.
Really? Listen. Whoa.
They run away from whatever it was that made that noise. After debating whether or not to go back, they see bright red lights coming towards them. Are they the burning coal eyes of some unknown creature or something else? You'll have to watch the entire series to find out. This old house features a resident ghost. When the YouTube team Dark Mystic enters, a mysterious sound is heard.
Cleveland.
And once inside, a door shuts on its own.
Диман, ты видал, дверь закрылась?
As they begin to speak with the spirits, a Steadicam captures this in another room. Is something trying to get in? I'm not sure, but something is definitely trying to get out of this wardrobe.
Кто вы такие?
Later, they hear something drop in the other room, and the Steadicam captures it. And shortly after, another object is thrown. While the first one perhaps could have just fallen, in my opinion, this one was undeniably thrown across the room. Along with the wardrobe malfunction, the level of paranormal activity here is off the charts. You might want to avoid this forest because it's apparently home to brain-hungry zombies. Published by Ant in October of 2021. A man appears completely lost in the thick foliage of a forest at night. As he's walking, a terrifying noise is heard. He continues, periodically calling out to whatever awaits him in the dense trees.
Hello? Nang? Oi! Sorry!
That's when he sees this. Something lying in the dirt crawls out, obviously to feast upon his brains. The man turns around and races out of the forest in fear. At one point, he is knocked to the ground. He looks around, whimpering in the darkness, but doesn't see anything around him. Did the zombie give up, or is he on the verge of an ambush? Rian Silver is a paranormal explorer who searches every abandoned house that he can find in the hopes that it's haunted by a djinn for him to catch on camera. Most of his videos have absolutely nothing paranormal in them, seemingly an abandoned house with nothing in it, just 20 minutes of creeping around empty room after room. But one of his scariest videos of all is paranormal beyond belief and has left him seriously creeped out ever since. He calls it the real horror house. Here's why. A strange sensation leaves him shaking before he's even cleared the main floor. The real horror house is different from any place he's ever been before. It feels truly haunted.
La ilaha illallah. A'udhu billahi ta'amati min sharri ma khalaq.
At 2 minutes and 8 seconds, a pair of glowing eyes stares at them from the window. It's not a cat. 9 seconds later, this creature with glowing eyes is seen outside the doorway. As they are leaving the room, a faint groan is heard behind them.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
As they reach the top of the stairs, they see another shadow figure that dips into the doorway upon their approach. They pursue and the weirdness follows close behind.
Last floor tak hai. यहाँ पे क्या है? बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम. बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम. अऊज़ु बिकलिमातिल्लाहि ताम्माति मिन शर्रि मा खलक.
A sudden chill gives Rian raised goosebumps. He's showing them to the camera when all of the sudden,
ये देखिए, मोंटे खड़े हो गए हाथ के. बिस्मिल्लाह. बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम. ताम्माति मिन शर्रि मा खलक. ऊपर से आवाज आई है.
bone-chilling laughter now fills the abandoned house. I was thinking maybe it's people playing outside, but who would be playing in the middle of the night by an abandoned house? I think it's coming from inside and very close by. Things get even more creepy when they reach the basement. Down here is where they find a single square opening to a secret hidden holding room with no way out. It looks like somebody might have been kept in this secret room for a long time. Rian doesn't dare climb in, but who knows what they would have discovered if he did. Could something in this creepy room also be the source of whatever's haunting this abandoned building? When they record inside, this freaky EVP is what's caught on camera. A tiny voice screams up at them from within, very faint but unmistakable when you hear it. Is this the final resting place of someone who fell in and can't get out? I think that might be the case. Submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Hunting the Haunted, this ghost hunter captured something startling after sitting in the Devil's Chair, which is an urban legend that is likely dated back to ancient folklore. It's a statue of a chair or bench found in graveyards. Let's watch his submission.
Wasn't even planning on stopping by until I seen that it was really close to us. So I figured I'd stop and check it out. Oh, God. Yeah, they said that, he sat in this chair.
I can clearly hear a sad moan. Is something in this graveyard upset with his choice to sit in the Devil's Chair? I think he should leave before things escalate. A ghost investigation video from Oregon, while admittedly grainy and out of focus, nonetheless captures two possibly paranormal instances that are worth analyzing. The first is a brief materialization of a shirt or tunic against the wall. From this floating clothing item, a phantom person emerges. Barely noticeable are the head, nose, and two eyes. Then again, this could be wavy details caused by motion blur. But motion blur does not explain the glowing white eyes that briefly flicker at 11 seconds into the video and quickly go away. I don't care how poor the camera quality is. Whatever this is, in my opinion, it should not be there, and yet it is. A YouTuber named Maddie Ann thinks she sees something walking around her backyard, so she grabs a camera and a high-powered flashlight and sets out to record it. By the time she gets outside, she doesn't see it anymore, so she starts scanning the yard with her light to see if it will move again. The disfigured and misshapen shadow is what she finds. You can see it peeking from around a tree for a second before ducking back into the darkness. The shadow is not really the right size for a human, and the head appears to be bald and shaped oddly. What's really weird is how the camera captures no features. If this was a person, then you should be able to see more details under the light. After all, the camera is able to pick up the brown color of the tree, so you would think that the person behind it would show some color too. Instead, Maddie Ann passes over a creature with a blank face. I don't think this was one of her friends, though I guess it could be someone wearing a costume with black mesh over the face. Jails offer no privacy, and a lot of them have CCTV equipment in nearly every corner. This video of an empty cell seems ordinary enough until the shadow materializes out of nowhere. The restless spirit briefly paces in a circle and then goes to the far corner. It seems to step onto the toilet and then jumps out of sight. If this is not CGI, then it could be a spirit reenacting the final moments before taking its own life with a rope or something similar. This is sadly a common practice in jail and can be done with anything from shoelaces to a tied up shirt. Maybe a desperate inmate once tied something around their neck to the bars above and jumped off the toilet. They were obviously trying to escape their punishment, but now it looks like they doomed themselves here for all eternity.